Welcome to the Sky Commander Flight Brief. It's your mission-ready podcast for drone pilot training and aerial insights across Canada.
From Transport Canada rules to real-world drone ops, we break it down, take you higher, and help you earn your wings. Because here at skycommander.ca, we don't just fly.
It hints there's more to it. It's a masterclass, a deeper level, maybe a philosophy or a community focus, perhaps.
It's definitely intriguing, sets them apart from just, a basic tips show. Skycommander.ca is the obvious next step. Precisely. If you're thinking about flying a drone in Canada, boom, this content is aimed right at you.
Powered by skycommander.ca.
The elite podcast for Canada's drone pilot. Okay, let's get started. Okay, let's unpack this. If you've been digging through the Canadian aviation regulations, trying to figure out what to study for your basic drone pilot certificate, and you're getting confused only a few lines into the definition section, don't worry, you are absolutely not doing it wrong. It really is that bad. We know how frustrating it can be sifting through that dense legal stuff, and all you really want to do is fly safely, and legally.
Yeah, it's common roadblock.
So our mission in this deep dive is to try and cut through some of that bureaucratic language. We want to equip you, our listener, with the essential practical knowledge for safe and legal drone operation in Canadian airspace. Mm-hmm. And we're putting a critical, maybe even life-saving focus on how to avoid conflicts with manned aircraft. Mm-hmm. This isn't just about, passing an exam, though it'll definitely help with that. This is about real-world safety, about making good decisions every single time your drone leaves the ground.
And what's truly fascinating here, I think, and often kind of overlooked, is that what seems like simple common sense for avoiding collisions. Once you dive into the actual rules and the practicalities of aviation, it's wrapped in these critical nuances that honestly save lives.
Right.
That comforting idea of a big sky, little drone, it was a dangerous myth.
Yeah, I've heard that one.
The reality of high closing speeds between aircraft, just how surprisingly hard it is to see a small drone in that huge sky. It makes collision avoidance absolutely paramount. It's really about understanding the tangible, practical impact of your actions in shared airspace, not just, memorizing abstract rules.
It's a really crucial distinction. Okay, so let's start by navigating what we're calling the Canadian drone air law labyrinth, because honestly, it feels like one sometimes.
A fitting description, absolutely.
So when you first dive into the Canadian aviation regulations, the car rise, you immediately hit this wall. Have you ever wondered why they are so difficult to read? Well, it's because they're just not designed for learning. They're basically fine print. They're a legal document meant for lawyers, aviation pros, regulatory folks.
Mm-hmm. Not for the average person trying to get a basic license.
Exactly. They're dense, packed with legal amendments, and just riddled with repealed sections. You'll literally see a line saying something like repealed, maybe with a reference number like SL 2025-70.
Right, with no context.
No explanation given, no replacement offered right there. So you're left scratching your head thinking, wait, was that rule important? What's the new rule then? It's just incredibly confusing and kind of disheartening for new pilots who just want to know what they need to know.
This is exactly where we need to sort of redirect your focus as the listener.
Yeah.
The exam Transport Canada gives isn't going to test you on repealed terms or obscure legal history.
Okay, that's good to know.
The whole point of these regulations, and therefore the basic drone pilot exam, is really to ensure safe flight operations and compliance with current rules. Mm-hmm. It's not designed to make you a legal scholar or, a regulatory historian.
Right.
So while the cars are, yes, the ultimate legal authority, your energy is way better spent understanding what truly matters for safe flying right now, rather than trying to memorize every single footnote or unravel old, defunct sections. Our goal here is to help you become a safe operator, not a paralegal.
So if the cars are that dense, where do you actually start studying? Thankfully, Transport Canada does provide a few essential free official resources. These are basically your syllabus, your blueprint. Mm-hmm. The first one, and maybe the most crucial guide, is called TP15263E, Knowledge Requirements for RPAS Pilots. Now, let's be real, it's a bit dry.
Understatement, perhaps.
Yeah, it reads like a government document because, well, it is one. But it is your absolute blueprint for what to study. It meticulously lists all the topics Transport Canada expects you to know for both the basic and the advanced certificates. When you open it up, you'll see it's clearly divided. Charts for basic, charts for advanced, with these handy check marks showing exactly what you need for each exam.
That structure is key.
It really is. And crucially, the middle column references the specific car sections relevant to each topic, and the last column gives simple, clear learning objectives. Honestly, it makes the most sense to start right there. Read the objectives, then look up those specific car sections if you need the finer details.
And that strategic approach leads you right to your second official resource, the cars themselves. Specifically, Part 9 of the Canadian Aviation Regulations. That's where all the drone-specific rules live.
Okay, Part 9.
Yeah. Well, the whole CARS document is huge. For your basic license, you'll mostly be looking at sections from Part 1 that covers fundamental definitions, applicability, some crucial record-keeping stuff.
Great.
Part 3, about aerodromes and airports, it's mentioned. But you don't need a super deep dive for the basic license. Just know your general limitations around them, especially the distances you need to keep. And definitely, absolutely critically know that manned aircraft always have the right-of-way over your drone. Always. You need to stay out of their way, period. Part 6 also has relevant bits, like restrictions around forest fire areas. 601.15 is a key one there.
Ah, yes, the forest fire rule, that's a big one.
Huge. You've probably seen news reports about drones interfering with firefighting aircraft, sometimes even grounding them. So you can definitely expect a question on that.
Makes sense.
So while Part 9X isn't exactly a thrilling read, try to get a general feel for what's in there and, maybe more importantly, where to find specific info. Remember, it's an open book exam. Knowing where to search quickly is vital.
That's a really important tip, the searching part. Which brings us to the third official resource, the Transport Canada Aeronautical Information Manual, or the AIM. This one, honestly, is a bit of a gem.
It really is much more readable.
Yeah. Unlike the dense legalese of the CARS, the A is written in remarkably plain English. It covers a whole range of topics crucial for aviation, Canadian airspace, communication stuff, weather, navigation basics. And yes, there's a whole dedicated section just for drones. It's a fantastic plain language reference. It provides invaluable context for the rules, much easier to digest.
Now, beyond the official docs, there are some unofficial, but I'd say incredibly highly recommended learning aids out there.
Okay.
I personally cannot recommend Don Joyce's YouTube channel enough. His ability to translate complex regulations into what a lot of his followers call Don speak, it's just invaluable.
Don speak. I like that.
Yeah. It's much closer to how a real person, like a seasoned pilot, explains things, not like reading a dry legal text. I can personally say his content gave me the clarity and, practical understanding that helped me pass both my basic and advanced exams first try.
Wow, first try. That's impressive.
He has entire playlists dedicated specifically to what you need for the basic exam, especially focusing on the rules and procedures that often trip people up.
Yeah.
If you learn well by watching and listening to clear explanations, honestly, check him out. It could be your ticket.
That's high praise and sounds well-deserved. Another really good resource to check out is rpasscenter.com. After you create a profile, it's free. They offer free courses and, maybe most importantly, free mock exams.
Oh, practice exams are golden.
Absolutely. It's great for reinforcing what you've learned, figuring out where you may be a bit weak, and just building confidence before you actually sit for the Transport Canada exam. It's all about finding what learning style works best for you, right? And practicing.
Definitely. Now, let's try to distill some core definitions and requirements. These are absolutely critical for basic drone ops. They pop up constantly in the regs and on the exam. You just need to know them. Cold.
Okay, lay them on us.
Your drone is officially an RPAS remotely piloted aircraft system. You must always keep your RPAS within VLOS visual line of sight. That means you have to be able to see it with your own eyes, unaided at all times. That's fundamental for collision avoidance.
Right, eyes on the drone.
Understand the basic difference between controlled and uncontrolled airspace. Controlled is managed by air traffic control, needs specific procedures. Uncontrolled isn't. Know the definition of bystanders, people not involved in your operation, and the critical 30-meter or 100-foot separation rule from them.
That 30-meter rule seems to come up a lot.
It's a big one. And know the difference between a bystander and someone involved in your operation. Like if your friend is there actively helping you watch the drone, they're involved, not a bystander. That distinction matters. They test it.
Gotcha.
You cannot fly higher than 120 meters, that's 400 feet, AGL, above ground level. Know the key differences between basic and advanced operations. Basic is simpler, more restricted. Advanced allows more complex flights but needs more training, different permissions. Remember to register your drone with Transport Canada, and you must carry your documentation, your registration certificate, and your pilot certificate whenever you fly.
Always have the paperwork.
Always. You also have to maintain a log of your flights and maintenance. critical for showing due diligence. You're also required to carry a copy of your drone's user manual.
The manual too, okay.
Yep. Weight-wise, a small RPAS is between 250 grams and 25 kilograms, and a really big one for basic operations. You are not allowed to carry payloads. Make sure you can define payload, basically. Anything attached to the drone that isn't essential for its flight.
That's a lot of definitions, but yeah, you can see how they'd be the foundation. And it's true the exam's open book, but knowing these terms and, like you said, where to find them quickly in the cars or AIM, that's key. That advice from Don Joyce about using exact wording for searches sounds invaluable for saving time.
Absolutely crucial for the open book format.
Now, let's shift our focus to the absolute priority in drone operations, a principle that really goes beyond just definitions. See and avoid. This isn't just a phrase to memorize, it's a foundational principle literally woven into the fabric of aviation safety, and it demands your full attention.
It truly is.
Yeah.
And the avoid manned aircraft rule, it isn't some brand new thing cooked up in 2019 when Part 9X for drones came into effect. No, this is a direct descendant of manned aviation right-of-way rules going back almost a century to the earliest civil air regulation.
Wow, really? A century?
Yeah. In early manned aviation, 1920s to 1960s, collision avoidance was pretty much entirely pilot-to-pilot see and avoid. Right-of-way was set by international agreements like ICO Annex 2. Certain manned aircraft had priority, like gliders always had right-of-way over powered aircraft.
Oh, okay.
Even back then, lighter-than aircraft like balloons and airships were explicitly called out as manned traffic that others had to yield to. It shows just how long these basic ideas have been around.
I never connected aviation right-of-way to maritime rules before. That's actually brilliant. Here's where it gets really interesting for us drone pilots, maybe.
Going.
The way aviation handles right-of-way is directly adapted from maritime navigation principles from the 19th century. Think about that classic rule, sail over steam sailing vessels. Less maneuverable, had priority over steamships.
Exactly.
That same idea translated to the skies. Glider over powered aircraft became the rule. And just like in sailing, as a drone operator, you're considered the more maneuverable vessel compared to pretty much any manned aircraft. So you must get out of the way. It's this elegant historical parallel that perfectly sums up your core responsibility.
That's a perfect analogy.
Yeah.
And building on that history, in the, let's say, unmanned beginnings, the 70s to the 90s, RC model aircraft were informally regulated by the MAC Safety Code Model Aeronautics Association of Canada.
Right, MAC.
And that code always required giving way to manned aircraft. It wasn't legally codified for hobbyists unless they were near airports, but is a strong cultural norm. Then came the pre-Part 9X SFOC era, say 2000 to 2018. All commercial UAV flights needed a Special Flight Operations Certificate, an SFOC, from Transport Canada.
Okay, the SFOC.
And every single SFOC clearly stated no ambiguity. The UAV shall give way to all manned aircraft, avoid collision at all times. See, an avoid was mandatory. Part 9X in 2019 just solidified this for RPAS, making it Regulation 908 or 1.17, which now explicitly requires you to yield to powered heavier-than-air aircraft, airships, gliders, and balloons.
So it brought it all together formally for drones.
Precisely. It was really the first time RPS had their own dedicated, legally binding avoidance rule in the main cars. And we should also remember the 1965 Piper and Beechcraft collision near Ottawa, a tragic midair where both pilots basically assumed the other would see them and get out of the way.
Oh, wow.
That accident actually pushed Canadian regulations to formalize visual scanning patterns, which directly influenced the RPAS scanning advice you see in TP 15263 today. Lessons learned the hard way, shaping safety for new tech.
That history really drives home how critical this is. Now let's tackle and thoroughly bust that dangerous myth, the big sky, little drone idea. Old school pilots used to joke, sky's huge, chance of hitting something is tiny.
Yeah, you still hear variations of that.
But that comfort just disappears when you realize a closing speed of, say, 200 knots between two aircraft. If they're just 1 kilometer apart, they'll meet in less than 10 seconds.
10 seconds.
Less than 10 seconds. Think about that. To react if you're at the same altitude, that is simply not much time for anyone to see and react, especially looking for something as small as a drone.
And it gets even worse than just the speed. Here's something truly counterintuitive, but vital. Despite their size, studies show a small multi-rotor drone is often visually detected later than a common pigeon at the same distance.
Later than a pigeon. Seriously.
Seriously. Why? Well, birds move erratically, right? Their sudden, unpredictable movements trigger a sort of primal predator-prey visual reflex in our eyes, makes them stand out. Drones, though, tend to hover or move smoothly, predictably. The human eye doesn't pick up that smooth motion as quickly or instinctively.
Huh. Never thought of it like that.
Plus, manned pilots often have significant blind spots behind them, especially from the cockpit. Limits their ability to see small, nearby stuff, and even a small RPAS, maybe 1 or 2 kilos, hitting a windshield or an engine intake at 90+ knots. That can cause serious structural damage or severe injury to the pilot. Just sheer kinetic energy. It's not like hitting a bird, it's like hitting a dense, fast-moving brick.
That puts it into chilling perspective. I remember reading about that intriguing Concorde collision scare back in the 80s. Really drove home how hard it is to spot small, fast things.
Ah, yes, the Concorde incident.
One of the closest airliner near misses with a small object. Concorde leaving Heathrow, pilots saw something about the size of a dinner plate whiz past at incredible speed. To this day, nobody knows for sure what it was, maybe a loose weather balloon. But it triggered some of the earliest UK see and avoid awareness campaigns.
That was a dinner plate.
Exactly. Imagine trying to spot a drone, often much smaller, less reflective.
It absolutely highlights the challenge and the core responsibility that falls squarely on the drone operator.
So for us as RPS pilots, let's distill the core concepts of see and avoid into practical, actionable takeaways.
Okay, first, let's define manned aircraft in plain English, the way Transport Canada uses it. Simply, an aircraft with 1 or more persons on board, covers a huge range, small Cessna, float plane landing on a lake, medevac helicopter overhead, all manned, all have priority.
Got it.
And see and avoid itself, it's that fundamental principle. Pilots and drone operators are continuously responsible for visually detecting conflicting traffic and altering course, altitude, speed, whatever's necessary to avoid a collision, like driving in a busy parking lot.
Right.
You're not just looking straight ahead. You're constantly scanning all around, checking mirrors so you don't hit someone backing out or pulling into your path. It's active, continuous, not just a quick glance now and then.
So summarizing that core concept for every drone pilot, you must always, and we mean always, be actively watching for manned aircraft. If something manned gets too close, or you even suspect it might, stop what you're doing immediately, move your drone out of the way, or worst case, land it immediately and safely.
That's precisely it. The formal rule, CARS Part 9, says RPAS operators must yield right-of-way to all manned aircraft, maintain adequate separation always, and follow ATC instructions if you're in controlled airspace. And this is a always-on rule. It applies the moment your drone's motors start until it's landed and fully shut down. The exam might even trick you to describe a plane passing while your drone's just lifting off or already descending. You still have to yield.
Yeah.
Your responsibility starts the second those props turn.
And here's a crucial point, maybe surprising to some. Even a seemingly small drone can seriously alarm or distract a manned pilot. At 400 feet AGL, your max altitude for basic ops, you are squarely in the airspace commonly used by helicopters and many small GA planes.
Prime territory.
So you're operating in an extra watchful zone for both types. Never assume they'll see you or that you're somehow invisible. They have blind spots. They're managing a lot, and your small drone is extremely hard to spot.
And it's absolutely crucial to hammer this home because it's non-negotiable.
Yeah.
The right-of-way for manned aircraft is absolute. You always give way to power-driven, heavier-than-air aircraft, planes, helos, airships, gliders, and balloons. That's CRR's 901.1 Winovit.
Okay.
And critically, this applies regardless of your vertical position. Even if you think your drone is higher than a manned aircraft, you still must move to avoid them. There's no higher aircraft has right-of-way for RPS. You are always the one who moves. Always.
This brings us squarely to Section 3. Who's actually in the sky? Manned aircraft you must avoid. And yeah, some of these might genuinely surprise you. It's not just typical planes and helicopters.
That's an important point. Transport Canada's definition is broad. Beyond the obvious planes and helos, there are blimps.
Yeah.
If the Goodyear blimp somehow floats into your airspace, it gets priority.
Seriously.
The blimps.
Seriously. Hot air balloons, even the fun-shaped ones at festivals, or the ones you see on summer mornings, they're on the list right away. And crucially, hang gliders and paragliders, often totally silent until they're right on top of you. Also, manned aircraft require immediate yielding.
Wow, okay. Balloons and gliders too.
Many drone pilots forget those are on the list, but Transport Canada will test this. All have the same right-of-way over your RPS. Doesn't matter how slow, quiet, or unusual they seem.
Speaking of surprising behaviors,
Yeah.
helicopters. Usually they fly forward, right? But sometimes.
Right, it's rare, but utility and military helos can do unique stuff. Hover taxiing, even flying backwards, doing specialized tasks like a heavy lift Chinook moving a big load. So a tail-on view could still be a head-on risk.
Potentially, yes. You can't assume predictable forward movement always. Your mental model needs to be flexible.
And what about unseen hazards, like things being towed?
Ah, yes. Towed objects. Big one. A manned aircraft might look far away or seem like it's just passing by, but it could be towing something, banners, gliders, survey gear. Sometimes that towed load extends hundreds of feet behind the aircraft right at your altitude, even when the aircraft itself isn't.
So you're avoiding the whole package deal, not just the plane.
Exactly. You're avoiding its entire operational footprint. Common test scenario, that one.
And even outside formal controlled airspace, there are these sort of invisible high-traffic corridors, right?
Definitely. Think river valleys for float planes using waterways as runways, or predictable paths along roads, pipelines, power lines that helicopters use for patrol, ridges for gliders catching thermals. Knowing these patterns helps you anticipate traffic, react faster, even if you don't see them initially.
And then there's low and fast stuff during emergencies.
Critically important. Emergency aircraft police, medevac, firefighting. They often fly very low, very fast, often with zero warning or radio calls. And they operate under the absolute assumption that all other traffic will immediately yield. CARS 602.19 gives them absolute right-of-way. In practice, they expect you out of the way. Now, no negotiation.
That constant vigilance again.
Absolutely. Think about the closing speeds. Medevac kilo, maybe 120 knots. Float planes, 80 knots. Small GA planes, maybe 120 knots. If your drone's doing 30 clicks an hour, about 16 knots. And a GA plane's coming at 120 knots. That's a closing speed of 136 knots. About 70 meters per second. From 1 kilometer away, you've got maybe 14 seconds to be completely clear. That's an incredibly tight window.
14 seconds. That's terrifyingly fast. Really puts the pressure on.
It does. And it reinforces why your eyes and quick reactions are everything. Medevac, police, firefighting, aerial work like crop dusting, serving they can and will operate at any altitude they need, including way below 400 feet AGL, even below treetop height in wildfire zones. You cannot assume staying below 400 feet makes you automatically safe from them. Your airspace is shared, period.
So with all these potential hazards, fast movers, what tools do we actually have to help? This brings us to Section 4. Tools for vigilance, helpful aids, but crucially not replacements for your own eyes.
Absolutely. There are several important tools to boost your situational awareness. First, ADS-B Automatic Dependent Surveillance Broadcast. Think of it like your drone wearing a little electronic name badge broadcasting its position and speed. And with the right receiver, you can see the badges of nearby planes and helos doing the same. Great supplemental tool.
Okay, ADS-B.
Then there's NAV Drone. That's the app NAV Canada launched in 2021. Really valuable planning tools for low-level manned routes. Shows where a traditional aircraft might be operating lower down.
NAV Drone, got it.
And NOTAM's notices to airmen. Official alerts about planned aerial work parachuting, air shows, military training, survey ops stuff that might impact your flight area. All valuable for building awareness before and during flight.
And this feels like but there are limits to this tech, right? Even with ADS-B, you won't see every single manned aircraft on your screen. It's not a complete picture.
That's a critical point.
Yeah.
Transport Canada tests this frequently. Many helicopters, especially older ones, no ADS-B. Ultralights, gliders, crop dusters, often zero electronic conspicuity, no transponders, no ADS-B. Here's a relevant fact. In some parts of Canada, especially rural farm areas, the aircraft least likely to show up electronically is often the one most likely to be flying low, where you are the ag-spree plane. So if you're relying only on tech to see other aircraft, you're flying with massive ADS-B blind spots.
Okay, that's crucial.
Don't fall for the myths. ADS-B is mandatory for drones, uncovered, or ADS-B shows all aircraft. It's still optional for many RPAS and definitely not mandatory for all manned aircraft, especially the older or smaller ones you're most likely to meet down low.
So the core message here can't be overstated. These tools are supplemental, aids. They absolutely do not replace your visual scanning and judgment. If an exam question hints, ADS-B replaces see and avoid, answer is false. Unequivocally, your eyes are primary.
However, it's important to mention an evolution happening in the regs. The SOR 2025-70 amendment, effective February 2025, it added new language. It explicitly encourages using real-time surveillance tools, ADS-B receivers, traffic apps when available to supplement visual scanning.
Okay, so encourage, not mandated yet for basic ops.
Exactly, but it signals a clear shift from Transport Canada, moving towards expecting pilots to leverage tech to enhance vigilance, integrate electronic eyes and ears with their own.
So as of 2025, the sky is getting smarter, essentially. And you're encouraged to pair your eyes with electronic ears to be even safer. Interesting development. Makes sense for integrating airspace.
Definitely part of the bigger picture of integration.
All right, now we understand the rules, the traffic, the tools. Let's talk action. Responding to an encounter. This is where the rubber meets the road. What do you actually do the moment you spot or even just suspect a manned aircraft is getting too close?
Transport Canada gives a pretty clear, memorable action sequence. Think of it like a mnemonic. Stop, descend, land, hold, scan, resume. Let's break each one down precisely because the details matter.
Okay, S2E83.
First, S2E83. Freeze your mission tasking immediately. Sticks neutral, stable hover if you can. Don't try to finish that last flight line, grab one more shot. Priority shifts entirely to avoiding the other aircraft.
Got it. Stop everything.
Second, descend. Quickly get your drone to the lowest safe altitude, ideally below 100 feet AGL. Critically, keep visual contact with both your drone and the manned aircraft if possible. Goal is to get out of their typical operating altitudes fast, but safely.
Descend low, in fact, keeping eyes on both. Okay, third.
Third, landy. If there's any doubt about safety, or if descending low is unsafe, maybe there are trees, wires, people below, land your drone immediately. Safely. Disarm it. Don't take risks. Grounded drone, the safe drone.
Land if descending isn't safe, or if you're unsure, makes sense. Fourth.
Fourth, hake LO. Wait for full clearance before even thinking about resuming. Don't just start up again the second it passes overhead. Transport Canada specifically warns about checking for a half-tech 2 aircraft. Medevacs, training flights, formations often have follow-ons seconds behind. Be patient.
Oh, and wait, check for trailers. Okay, fifth.
Fifth, scan. Once you think it's clear, do a thorough 360-degree scan. Your whole operating area. Look up, down, all around. Make sure the area is completely clear and any other traffic, too.
Scan thoroughly. And finally,
resume. Only when the airspace is absolutely completely clear and safe, then consider resuming. If you have a visual observer, rebrief them quickly before continuing.
stop, descend, land, hold, scan resume. Clear, sequential, potentially life-saving.
It is, and they can make this tricky on the exam. Transport Canada loves the double whammy trick, combining avoidance with other rules like VLOS or weather limit.
Ah, okay. Example.
Like flying in light haze, you hear a helicopter approaching from behind, can't quite see it yet due to the haze. What do? The correct answer. Cease ops immediately. Descend or land. You can't wait for visual contact if your VLOS is already compromised by haze. Your ears are a crucial detection tool. Hear it. Assume conflict. Act now.
That's a really common misconception, isn't it? Defaulting to just descend to avoid, thinking that's always safest. But sometimes moving sideways or just landing is better.
Absolutely correct. Goes back to good judgment. Blindly descending might plunge you into power lines, trees, fences, even people you couldn't see from higher up. Sometimes sliding sideways or moving laterally to get clear, then landing in a clear patch. Much less risky than a vertical descent into hazards.
Right.
Transport Canada expects you to choose the safest maneuver for the situation, not just blindly follow descend first. If terrain or obstacles make descending unsafe, hovering, climbing laterally away, then landing all acceptable actions prioritizing overall safety.
Makes total sense. Adapt to the environment.
And for any pro operation, documenting these encounters is just good due diligence. Log the time, location, what you saw, actions taken, crew comms. Prove compliance, protects you in an investigation, shows you were vigilant and acted responsibly.
Okay, this is where it all comes together. Let's walk through some real-world scenarios, capture these decisions, highlight those tricky exam gotcha points, get people ready for what the sky or the exam might throw at them.
These scenarios are critical. They mirror the rapid decisions you face in the field and what TC expects as your immediate correct action. Let's dive into a few.
Let's start with the medevac surprise. Mapping a rural property, 350 feet AGL, clear VLOS, all smooth. Suddenly, that faint but distinct rotor thump, getting louder fast. Seconds later, medevac helo bursts over the trees, low and fast, heading for a highway accident you didn't even know was there. What do?
Immediate action is vital. Stop drone movement instantly. Stable hover, then descend quickly. Low, safe altitude, under 100 feet AGL ideally. Maintain visual on both RPS and ELO if you can. Once low and clear, land immediately. Safely disarm. Don't guess its path, don't wait.
Why does TC care so much here?
Medevac crews fly treetop low, appear with 0 radio warning. Emergency rules mean speed, directness override standard paths. Your eyes, your ears are your only safety net. Assume they won't see you, you must see and avoid them.
Okay, next scenario. The crop duster ambush. Field survey, 120 feet AGL, early morning calm. Checked NAV drone, no TAMs, nothing active. Suddenly, spot a yellow aircraft, crop duster, kilometer away, descending rapidly towards the field next to yours. Keep going since he's in his own field.
Absolutely not.
Yep.
Land immediately. Crop dusters operate extremely low feet above crops. Multiple unpredictable passes over wide areas. Don't assume they'll stay strictly next door. Wind, spray drift, wide turns can bring them dangerously close unexpectedly.
Why TC cares?
Ag Ops rarely filed in NOTAMs. Too dynamic, weather-dependent. TC expects you to know these planes appear anywhere, anytime in rural areas, demand immediate reaction. No time for maps or assumptions. React instantly. Land.
How about the float plane finale? Filming shoreline real estate 300 feet AGL near a scenic BC lake. Getting great shots. Suddenly low hum behind you, getting louder. Turn, see a float plane already on final approach, low over the water, heading near your area.
Get completely clear. Without delay, descend rapidly, below 100 feet. Move laterally away from its approach path, ideally. Land immediately on solid ground. Stay down until it's landed, taxiing, or powered down.
TC cares.
Float planes need long, low, often wide approaches over water. An RPAS near their path, even if not directly in it. Serious collision risk, dangerous distraction for the pilot during that critical phase. They're looking for debris on the water, not small airborne things.
Here's a common one. Tower inspection interruption. Inspecting a cell tower 250 feet AGL, 4 nautical miles from a small, uncontrolled aerodrome. Checked NAV drone, no planned flights. Midway through, spot a small Cessna, distance, seemingly climbing away in departure. Keep working since it looks like it's heading away.
No. Yield immediately. Stop inspection. Descend or land. Without hesitation. Even if they look like they're climbing away, light aircraft from uncontrolled fields can change path, level off, turn unexpectedly. No warning. Practicing touch-and-go's maneuvers bringing them back.
Why TC cares?
An AV drone, no TAMs, show planned flights. Uncontrolled fields have constant, unpredictable traffic. No ATC separation or warnings. Your personal, active vigilance and immediate reaction are the only safety nets.
One more. Glider ghost. Filming near a ridge, sunny Saturday, known for thermals, no engine sounds. Sudden flash of white in periphery, silent glider, drifting right toward you, riding an air current. Assume they'll just pass overhead, since they're not powered.
No. You move first. Quickly. Gliders have extremely limited maneuverability compared to powered aircraft. Rely on air currents. Changing direction, altitude significantly can be hard for them. Immediately descend or alter course. Ensure they maintain their glide path uninterrupted.
Why TC cares?
Gliders, balloons, ultralights, all manned aircraft, same right-of-way over your drone. Often appear silently, very hard to detect. Limited ability to avoid you. Onus is entirely on you, the drone pilot, to give way.
These scenarios really paint a vivid picture. Constant vigilance, split-second decisions. Now let's quickly hit some common misconceptions. Those classic exam gotcha points TC loves.
Okay, myth number 1. Drones are too small, manned pilots will see us. Busted. Dangerously wrong. Small objects are virtually invisible at high closure speeds, especially from a cockpit with limited visibility. Assume you must see them and avoid them.
Myth 2. If I'm flying under 400 feet, I'm automatically safe. Busted. 400 feet AGL is well within helicopter, small plane, ag-op altitudes. Safe separation isn't just staying low, it's constant vigilance at any altitude.
Myth 3. ADS-B is mandatory for drones, so I'm covered. I'll see everyone. Busted. Optional for many RPAS. Not all manned aircraft have it, especially older, smaller ones down low. Can't rely solely on tech. Eyes and ears matter most.
Myth 4. If I hear an aircraft but don't see it, I can keep flying until I have visual. Hard stop. Busted. Assume conflict. Audio cues are crucial. Hear it. Land or move clear immediately. Don't wait.
Myth 5. If ATC cleared me, I don't have to look. Busted. You are always responsible for see and avoid, even in controlled airspace with ATC. ATC separation for manned. Not guaranteed for RPS unless specifically coordinated. You're the final safety barrier. And the subtle one. You must avoid, even if you're the higher aircraft. True. For RPAS, vertical position doesn't grant right of way. Above, below, same altitude, you always move to avoid manned aircraft.
Okay, for the exam, remember key numbers. Max altitude 400-foot AGL for basic, unless SFOC. Aim for 500-foot horizontal and 200-foot vertical separation from manned aircraft when possible. Practical safety guidelines.
And remember the regulatory anchors. CARS Part NIAX, 901.17 giveaway, 901.16 CSOPS if unsafe, 900.01 VLOS definition including scanning, Aeronautics Act 6022.19 emergency aircraft right-of-way, TP 15263 knowledge racks, and that SOR 2025-70 amendment encouraging surveillance tools.
Looking ahead, how will collision avoidance evolve? Section 7, the future of airspace integration, beyond see and avoid as we know it today.
Clear trends point to tech-assisted avoidance. ADS-B, FLARM, other traffic alerts getting cheaper, smaller, more accessible for drones. I fully expect TC will eventually mandate traffic awareness receivers for some advanced stops, especially BVLOS beyond visual line of sight.
Makes sense for BVLOS.
Likely see integration into RPS autopilots too. Automated breakaway maneuvers when traffic's detected. Takes some immediate burden off the pilot in certain cases. Adds a huge safety layer.
So, formalizing detect and avoid DAA standards. What exactly does a DAA system do?
Basically, DAA equips drones to electronically see other aircraft, like manned planes do with radar and TCS. And beyond just seeing, DAA might automatically make avoidance maneuvers, moving beyond just human visual detection. International bodies ICAO, ASTM, RTCA are working on formal DAA performance standards. Once adopted, Canada will likely require DAA for higher-risk advanced flights, specific ops, complex airspace. Could potentially replace visual-only avoidance for some categories, especially as drones go further or into trickier airspace. Huge step for safer integration. For BVOS integration, the whole avoidance paradigm shifts from you must visually see and avoid towards procedural separation in shared low-level corridors, managed largely through electronic conspicuity on both manned and unmanned. Future avoidance might live partly in automated traffic management rules, not just the pilot's eyes.
Interesting.
And expect automated compliance logging. TC likely requiring RPS to automatically log avoidance maneuvers or traffic alerts. Post-incident verification, like flight data recorders, helps operators prove they acted appropriately.
So, wrapping this all up, what does this mean for you, the pilot? Starting your drone journey, it means understanding these essentials. Always yield to manned aircraft. Maintain constant VLOS for avoidance eyes are primary. Manned aircraft can be anywhere below 400 feet, often without warning. React immediately. Stop, descend, land, hold, scan, resume. Use tools like ADS-B, Nevi drone, NOTAMs as aids, never replacements for vigilance and judgment.
And remember, knowledge is most valuable when it's truly understood and applied, which raises, I think, an important question for all of us. As our skies get smarter with technology, how do we ensure human vigilance and good judgment remain the ultimate fail-safe for drone pilots, even as automation increases? It's a delicate, crucial balance we'll all keep navigating.
So what does this all mean for you? It means you have the power to be a truly well-informed, responsible, and most importantly, safe pilot, navigating not just the rules, but the very dynamic shared airspace around us. Keep learning, keep scanning, and fly safe out there. That's a wrap on today's mission, Commander. See above, go beyond, get ahead. For more training, tools, and intel, head to skycommander.ca. If you learned something new, share it, subscribe, and leave us a 5-star debrief.